Have you ever felt your erection disappear at the exact moment you needed it most, almost as if your body shut down without warning? Men over 50 tell me this all the time, and the truth is far more physical than psychological. When your penis fails to fill with blood instantly, it is not about desire, masculinity, or confidence. It is about circulation. Pure vascular mechanics. As a urologist, I see this pattern every day. The moment blood flow weakens, erections follow. The good news is that your body can reactivate this flow in seconds when you understand the right trigger. Most men don't realize that an erection is nothing more than a pressure system. When the arteries inside the penis open fast and wide, blood rushes in, fills the chambers, and creates immediate hardness. When those arteries stiffen with age, the rush becomes a trickle. That is why erections feel slow, weak, or unreliable. But here is the part nobody tells you: the body still has the ability to respond fast. Sometimes instantly, when you activate the natural nitric oxide pathway. That pathway is the key to forcing blood back into the penis with strength. Think of nitric oxide as the invisible switch that tells the arteries, "Open now." When this switch is off, you can touch, try, hope, and push, but the erection will stay soft. When the switch turns on, pressure builds, the penis fills with blood, and the hardness you thought you had lost returns. The problem is that men over 50 produce far less nitric oxide than their younger selves. Stress, sugar, poor sleep, and declining vascular elasticity all weaken this signal, leaving the penis waiting for pressure that never arrives. But your body isn't broken, it is waiting for the right command. And when you give that command, using a simple natural activation technique, you often feel the response almost immediately. The warmth, the fullness, the returning pressure inside the shaft. That sudden awareness that it's working again. I've seen this happen in minutes in my clinic, even in men who spent years believing nothing could improve. Before we go any deeper, I want you to think about something important. How often do you actually pay attention to what your penis is trying to tell you? Weak morning erections, slow response during sex, difficulty maintaining hardness, these are not random events. They are warnings. Signals that blood isn't moving the way it used to. Signals that your vascular system needs a push, not a pill. And that is exactly what we're going to do next. But before I walk you through the specific natural method that reactivates this flow, I need your help. Tell me in the comments if you've experienced any of these signs and what you think triggered them. Your story matters. And while you're here, make sure you hit like and check if you're already subscribed to the channel. Understanding this content could change your confidence, your performance, and the way your body responds from now on. Now that you know what truly controls the speed and strength of your erections, we can move into the next step, the practical correction men over 50 must apply today to let blood enter the penis with power again. The biggest mistake men over 50 make is assuming their erection problems are caused by testosterone alone. In reality, the most common culprit is something far simpler and far more immediate: a daily habit that slowly restricts blood flow to the penis without you even noticing. When the inner lining of your arteries, the endothelium, becomes irritated or inflamed, it loses its ability to release nitric oxide. Without that release, the arteries cannot widen. And if they cannot widen, blood cannot rush into the penis with the speed and pressure required for a firm, instant erection. This is where the silent damage begins. A single high-sugar meal, lack of hydration, long period sitting, or even shallow breathing can constrict the vessels that feed the penis. Most men don't realize how quickly these factors reduce blood flow. They feel the result only in the moment when they try to become aroused and the hardness doesn't arrive. What they don't see is the chain reaction happening inside their vascular system: arteries tightening, pressure dropping, and the penis receiving only half the blood it needs. The truth is that the penis is the first organ to show circulatory problems. Those chambers inside the shaft, the corpora cavernosa, rely on rapid expansion, and they are incredibly sensitive to any drop in nitric oxide or arterial flexibility. When your brain sends the arousal signal, the penis must react immediately. If it hesitates, even for a few seconds, performance suffers. This hesitation is the warning sign most men ignore. But here's the critical part: the correction is often surprisingly simple. You can restore endothelial responsiveness quickly when you remove the daily triggers that block blood flow. Even small adjustments, like reducing fast sugars in the morning, improving hydration before noon, loosening the hip region with slight movement, or stimulating nasal breathing to enhance nitric oxide, can shift the entire vascular environment. When the arteries relax, blood pressure inside the penis rises naturally, and the speed of the erection improves. I've had countless patients who believed their situation was irreversible, only to discover that their bodies were reacting to tight, stressed blood vessels that could open again with the right stimulus. Some described feeling warmth returning to the pelvic area within minutes of changing a single habit. Others noticed their morning erections becoming fuller after only a few days. You have to look at the penis as a pressure container. If you allow your vascular system to stay compressed, inflamed, or sluggish, the container never fills. But the moment you reduce those daily sources of tension, blood begins moving again, the chambers swell more easily, and the response becomes faster and more dependable. This is why understanding the real cause matters. When you stop blaming hormones and start correcting circulation, everything changes. The erection becomes less of a struggle and more of a natural, automatic reaction, just like it used to be. And once the underlying blockage is removed, your body is finally ready for the activation technique that reawakens full pressure inside the penis. Now that you understand what has been holding your erection back, we can move into the next part, the exact rapid activation protocol that switches the penile blood flow system back on in seconds. Now that you understand what has been blocking your erections, it's time to reveal the activation protocol itself, the exact steps that trigger nitric oxide, relax the arterial walls, and allow blood to rush into the penis with the speed and pressure you've been missing. This protocol works because it taps into the same physiological mechanism your body used effortlessly in your younger years. When done correctly, many men feel the response almost immediately, as if a switch inside the pelvic region suddenly turns back on. The first part of the protocol focuses on stimulating controlled oxygen exchange. Most men breathe shallowly and through the mouth, which kills nitric oxide production. But when you take slow, deliberate breaths through the nose, something powerful happens. The sinuses release nitric oxide, which travels down the airway and into the bloodstream, signaling the arterial walls to relax. This matters because the penis depends entirely on rapid arterial dilation. Without that dilation, no amount of desire can force blood into the chambers. The second part targets pelvic circulation directly. When you sit for long periods, blood stagnates in the lower body and the vessels that feed the penis become compressed. A simple 1-minute sequence, tightening the glutes, relaxing the hips, and gently engaging the lower abdomen, activates the pelvic floor and draws blood downward. This is not exercise, it is a circulatory trigger. It primes the arteries so they can open fully when the erotic signal arrives. Men often describe a warm, pulsing sensation spreading through the base of the penis when they do this correctly, a sign that blood is finally flowing again. The third part of the protocol involves vascular priming. By applying light stimulation, not for arousal, but for circulation, you activate mechanoreceptors in the skin. These receptors signal the smooth muscle of the penile arteries to relax. This is why some men feel their penis wake up suddenly, even before they are fully aroused. The chambers inside the shaft begin to soften, expand, and prepare for blood filling, similar to how a muscle warms before lifting weight. It's a controlled opening of the vascular pathway. What makes the protocol so effective is the order. Nasal breathing releases the chemical signal. Pelvic engagement pulls blood into the region. Gentle tactile priming prepares the arterial network. Together, These steps recreate the natural chain reaction that was automatic in your 20s and 30s. Instead of waiting for an erection to hopefully appear, you create the internal environment that allows it to happen consistently. Many of my patients are shocked by the speed of the response. They expect improvement after days or weeks, but often feel the first surge of fullness within minutes. That's the power of restoring the nitric oxide-driven mechanism. Once the arteries reopen and pressure normalizes, the penis behaves exactly the way it was designed to. The body remembers the process, it simply needs the right cues to perform again. Now that you understand how to activate the system, the next step is to examine the natural element that intensifies this effect and accelerates the strength of your erections even further. To amplify the activation protocol you just learned, there is one natural element that works almost like a catalyst for penile blood flow. It doesn't replace nitric oxide, it intensifies its release, stabilizes its effect, and helps maintain arterial dilation long enough for the penis to fill completely and stay firm. Most men overlook this because they assume only medications can create fast vascular changes. But biologically, this compound supports the same pathway activated by prescription drugs, except it does so through natural biochemical signaling rather than forced stimulation. The element I'm referring to is concentrated dietary nitrate. When consumed correctly, the body converts these nitrates into nitrites, and then into nitric oxide once they reach the bloodstream. This conversion is powerful because it bypasses the slow, age-weakened processes of the endothelium. In simpler terms, nitrates give your body the raw material it needs to flood the arteries with nitric oxide fast. And when your goal is a rapid erection, speed of conversion matters just as much as quantity. Men over 50 experience a dramatic decline in nitric oxide because the enzymes responsible for producing it inside the arteries become sluggish. This is why younger men experience sudden, strong erections effortlessly. They have abundant endothelial nitric oxide synthase. You, however, need an external source that can bypass this bottleneck. Nitrate-rich foods, primarily beets and certain leafy greens, do exactly that. They provide the precursor that allows your body to trigger vasodilation without relying on weakened enzymatic pathways. What makes nitrate so effective for penile blood flow is that it doesn't simply open the arteries once, it improves their responsiveness over time. Studies on vascular aging show that consistent nitrate intake increases the elasticity of arterial walls, allowing them to expand faster when arousal signals arrive. Men often describe the difference as pressure returning, or fullness coming back, because the chambers inside the penis suddenly receive the volume of blood required for rigidity. There is also a neurological component. Improved nitric oxide availability influences the smooth muscle inside the penile tissue, reducing resistance and allowing blood to enter with less effort. When the resistance drops, the pressure rises. And erection strength is nothing more than the relationship between pressure and resistance. Lower the resistance, raise the pressure, and the penis responds. However, the timing of nitrate consumption is what truly determines its potency. When taken in the morning, before brushing your teeth and on an empty stomach, the conversion to nitric oxide becomes significantly more efficient. This happens because oral bacteria play a major role in the nitrate to nitrite conversion. Many men unknowingly sabotage this process by using strong mouthwash, which kills the exact bacteria responsible for producing nitrites. Once those bacteria are gone, the nitric oxide boost disappears. When used correctly, though, nitrates act as an accelerator. They magnify the effects of nasal breathing, pelvic activation, and tactile priming. Instead of waiting for your body to slowly release nitric oxide, you provide the fuel that allows the system to fire instantly. It's the difference between forcing a cold engine to start and turning the key when the engine is already warm and ready. Now that you understand the natural accelerator behind rapid erections, it's time to move into something even more practical. The 60-second ritual that combines circulation, pressure, and vascular priming into a single routine that men over 50 can feel almost immediately. The 60-second ritual is where everything you've learned so far comes together. It is the moment where nitric oxide activation, pelvic circulation, and arterial priming integrate into a single routine that older men can feel almost immediately. This ritual works not because it is intense or complicated, but because it follows the natural physiology of how erections are supposed to begin: chemical signal, blood movement, tissue expansion, and pressure buildup. When these pieces align, the penis fills rapidly, and the response feels effortless again. The ritual starts with targeted nasal breathing. Take 2 slow inhalations through the nose, each lasting 4 to 6 seconds. As you do, allow your chest to stay relaxed and let the breath drop into your diaphragm. This deep nasal pattern triggers a surge of nitric oxide release from the paranasal sinuses, sending the first open now signal toward the arteries that lead into the pelvis. Older men often underestimate how quickly this chemical signal can shift their vascular tone. But when the nitric oxide pathway is activated deliberately, the arteries respond with surprising speed. Next comes the pelvic pump. While standing or seated, tighten your glutes firmly for 4 seconds and release. Repeat this twice. This contraction pulls blood from the upper body downward and forces it toward the pelvic region. It is not about strength, it is about redirecting circulation to the exact area where it is needed. Many men feel a warm or heavy sensation at the base of the penis during this step. That sensation is blood beginning to collect in the cavernous bodies, preparing for expansion. Immediately after the pelvic pump, shift your focus to the lower abdomen. Place your hand just below the navel and draw the muscles inward gently as you exhale. This activates the deep stabilizing muscles that sit directly above the pelvic floor. When these muscles engage, internal pressure shifts downward, creating the environment needed for blood to enter the penis more forcefully. Think of it as opening the gate from above while circulation moves from below. The final component of the ritual is microstimulation. Using 2 fingers, apply a slow, controlled glide along the shaft, not to generate arousal, but to activate mechanoreceptors within the penile skin. These receptors send signals to relax the smooth muscle inside the arteries, allowing them to dilate fully. When done at the correct pace, not fast, not firm, the penis responds with an immediate sense of filling, as if internal pressure is rising naturally from within. This is the moment most men recognize as the reactivation, the return of fullness, weight, and vascular responsiveness. What makes this 60-second sequence so effective is that it follows the exact physiological order required for an erection: biochemical release, circulatory redirection, pressure preparation, and vascular expansion. Younger men perform this sequence unconsciously, their bodies do it automatically. Older men must perform it deliberately, but the effect is the same. Once the arteries relax, once the pelvic floor engages, once the mechanoreceptors activate, the penis behaves exactly the way it was designed to: responsive, full, and ready. This ritual becomes even more powerful when repeated consistently. Over time, the arterial walls regain flexibility, the pelvic muscles strengthen, and the nervous system learns to respond faster. Many men describe noticing not just stronger erections during intimacy, but fuller morning erections and greater sensitivity throughout the day. Now that you've learned how to trigger rapid expansion, the next step is understanding how to keep this blood flow consistent every single day, so your erection strength doesn't just return momentarily, but stabilizes as part of your daily life. Restoring strong erections once is encouraging, but the real transformation happens when you maintain that blood flow every single day. Most men over 50 experience fluctuating performance because their vascular system is inconsistent. Some days the arteries respond quickly, other days they feel slow or resistant. To stabilize erections, you need a daily routine that keeps the blood vessels relaxed, the pelvic circulation active, and the nitric oxide levels high enough to support immediate pressure inside the penis whenever arousal occurs. The first pillar of daily maintenance is morning vascular priming. When you wake up, your arteries are naturally more responsive and testosterone levels are at their peak. This is the perfect time to reinforce circulation. Even a brief walk, a few minutes of deep nasal breathing, or light stretching through the hips opens the vessels that feed the penis. These small actions increase endothelial activity, allowing the arterial walls to remain flexible throughout the day. Men who adopt this simple routine often notice their morning erections intensify within a week. The second pillar is nutrient support. Erections rely heavily on nitric oxide, and nitric oxide relies on the availability of nitrates, antioxidants, and minerals. Foods like beets, spinach, arugula, garlic, walnuts, and citrus fruits support vascular tone and directly influence how quickly blood can enter the penis. Just one nitrate-rich serving in the morning can raise nitric oxide levels for hours. Likewise, minerals like magnesium help relax arterial walls, while vitamin C protects nitric oxide from breaking down too quickly. When you combine these nutrients consistently, the vascular network becomes more responsive day after day. The third pillar is pelvic mobility. Aging tightens the muscles around the hips, groin, and lower back, which restricts blood flow into the pelvic bowl. Over time, this stiffness reduces sensitivity, weakens the pelvic floor, and slows the erection response. A simple daily practice, such as hip circles, glute contractions, or gentle pelvic tilts, keeps the circulation active and prevents stagnation. When these muscles stay loose and engaged, blood reaches the penis more efficiently, and the erectile tissues remain healthier. The fourth pillar is evening recovery. Erections depend on restful sleep because testosterone is produced during deep sleep cycles, and endothelial repair happens overnight. If your sleep is shallow or disrupted, nitric oxide levels drop and your arteries lose elasticity. Establishing a nighttime routine, dimming lights, avoiding heavy meals, and supporting relaxation helps the body restore its hormonal balance. Many men overlook this step, but sleep quality can make the difference between maintaining strong erections and struggling with inconsistency. The final pillar is pattern awareness. The penis gives early warnings. If your erections feel slower, weaker, or colder than usual, it's a sign that circulation is dipping. Responding immediately, by increasing hydration, reducing sugar intake, or performing the 60-second ritual, prevents further decline. Most declines in erectile strength happen gradually, but men notice them only when the problem becomes severe. Staying attentive allows you to correct your vascular state before it interferes with intimacy. Once this daily routine becomes habit, the penis stops behaving unpredictably. The blood flow becomes stable, the arterial walls remain flexible, and the erection response feels natural again. And with this foundation in place, you are ready for the final step, a complete restoration of masculine vitality that strengthens not only your erections, but your confidence, energy, and performance as a whole. When you combine rapid activation, daily vascular support, and consistent nitric oxide signaling, something remarkable happens. Your entire sexual system begins to function the way it was meant to. Not in a temporary or unpredictable way, but with the stability and confidence men often assume is lost after 50 or 60. The penis responds faster because the arteries stay open. The erection becomes harder because pressure builds naturally. Sensitivity improves because the tissues are properly nourished. And intimacy becomes something you step into with ease, not doubt. This restoration is not just physical. It is deeply psychological. When a man begins to feel his body responding again, the weight he has silently carried for years starts to lift. The hesitation, the fear of disappointing a partner, the quiet embarrassment that grows each time an erection fades too soon, these begin to dissolve. You start to stand differently, breathe differently, and move through your day with the subtle confidence of someone who knows his body still works. And that shift influences relationships, mood, energy, and even the way you approach the challenges of aging. What most men don't understand is that sexual vitality is not only about sexual function. It reflects the health of your entire circulatory system. When blood flows easily into the penis, it is because the arteries throughout your body are flexible, responsive, and alive. Improving erection strength often means improving heart health, oxygenation, and metabolic function as well. This is why men who regain strong erections frequently report clearer thinking, better stamina, and more motivation. The same system that fuels performance in the bedroom fuels the rest of your life. Every step you've learned, nasal activation, pelvic engagement, vascular priming, nitrate support, mobility work, and sleep repair, creates a cumulative effect. With each day of consistency, your arteries adapt. With each week, your nitric oxide response strengthens. And with each month, the penis behaves more like it did before circulation began to slow. This is not regression to youth, it is restoration of function. Your body remembers how to do this. You are simply giving it the environment it needs to perform. This journey is about reclaiming the identity of a man who feels powerful in his own body, someone who is not defined by age, but by how intentionally he supports his health. Sexual confidence is not luck. It is the outcome of physiology, awareness, and daily choices that reinforce circulation, pressure, and vitality. And if you've followed this far, you've already taken the step most men never take, understanding the science behind your own performance and learning how to influence it directly. And before we close, let me say this. If this conversation helped you understand your body better, or if you felt something in these explanations that finally made sense of what you've been experiencing, consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss the next videos. Leave a comment using the phrase "I'm with you" until the end so I know you reached this point and connected with the message. And if you feel that this content added real value to your life, give the video a like, it helps this information reach more men who need it. When you're ready, there's another video here that deepens everything we discussed today. Click it and continue the journey with me.